This morning, two former Laurel County prosecutors are calling for more answers in the death of Doug Harless. And some folks in Breathitt County are trying to preserve the rich history of one of the oldest buildings on HCTC's Lee College campus.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neely Green, live on air with you this Friday, March 6th. The time is now 5:32, and let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusnell for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we were talking earlier, and it was just so beautiful outside, and I want it to keep looking that way. I don't want it to stop.
Well, the good news is we're going to continue to see those very warm temperatures for a long time. Now, the rain might be an interference to what you're talking about, but, we'll get to that in just a second. Let's talk about those temperatures first. Very pleasant this morning in a mixture of the 50s. Looking at some people in the 40s, but overall, again, really comfortable for this time of year with high temperatures for the day, warm. I mean, we're normally in the low to mid 50s. Today, though, we'll be looking at the low 80s for a lot of folks. Yes, you heard that right. It is going to be very warm as we're heading into the afternoon. And we're also watching some chances of rain now for your Thursday. Your Friday, going back a day. For your Friday, we're looking mostly dry with a slight chance for some scattered shower activity in the afternoon. But as we head into the weekend, that's when we'll start to see those rain and storm chances ramping up. For your Friday as a whole, though, expect mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Neely.
Thank you, Megan. Two former Laurel County prosecutors are calling for more answers in the death of Doug Harless. They're calling on state and federal leaders to make additional information in the case public. The grand jury chose not to indict anyone in Harless's death last month. KSB says Harless was shot and killed in his home by a London police officer on December 23, 2024. State police say he pointed a gun at officers who were trying to serve a warrant. Our repeated request to see the warrant has been denied, but we obtained dispatch audio that indicates officers may have been at the wrong home. The former Commonwealth's attorney want the search warrant, affidavit, and KSP report to be made public. They want to know more about what the officers did at the scene, including who fired their weapons and why, plus details about the crime being investigated and why a late-night search was needed. The letter calls for those records to be filed with the Laurel Circuit Court clerk. Now on to the conflict in the Middle East. President Trump says he wants a direct role in choosing Iran's next leader 1 week into joint U.S. and Israeli strikes. Defense officials say hundreds of targets deep inside Iran have been hit, and that President Trump has ordered the military to tear down Iran's ballistic missile industry. This as House Republicans block a bid to limit the president's authority to use force against Iran. Violence has no place in this world. That was Governor Andy Beshear's message to the faith community last night. The governor was the keynote speaker at the Diocese of Lexington's United in Hope event. In his speech, the governor condemned acts of political violence.
Over these past few years, across our country, we've seen an increase in deadly acts of senseless violence. American lives have been taken far too soon.
The governor called on people to learn to respect others and called for unity. Lawmakers are trying to clarify a law that limits communication between Kentucky teachers and students outside of the classroom. The original law was passed to monitor communication to protect students. House Bill 67 out of Education Committee, that proposed law hopes to make things easier for teachers. When Senate Bill 181 became law, it banned non-traceable communications between school employees and students. It also requires schools to create at least one type of communication that is traceable. House Bill 67 expands the definition of family members in a student's household, but defines who a coach and is also exempt students who work at the schools during the summer. It also allows exemptions for teachers while on field trips.
She was really upset because they were late coming back from a field trip. She had 60 students on a field trip, and the bus location pickup was in a different area. couldn't find some students. She just wished she could have called them and said, you know, meet at this particular location. The location's changed. Instead, she couldn't, or felt like she couldn't. So this bill clarifies that in that situation, she most certainly could.
The bill also allows for teachers to comment on public social media posts of students. Continuing in Frankfort, the State House wasted no time in passing a bill that will protect domestic violence survivors when it comes to custody cases. House Bill 418 is not final yet, as it still has to pass in the Senate, but it passed the House by a vote of 96-1. The bill says that if court finds a parent in custody case has committed domestic violence or abuse, it can't cut parenting time or remove custody from the non-abusive parent. Right now, the court assumes that joint custody is in a child's best interest. But House Bill 418 says if a parent has committed 2 or more acts of domestic violence or abuse, the court must assume that joint custody and shared equal parenting time are not in the child's best interest. To get unsupervised visitation back, the parent must complete parenting classes, attend a certified batters intervention program, go through mental health assessments, and have participated in supervised visitation. After these steps, the court will hold hearings to allow unsupervised visitation and restore custodial rights. Under the proposed law, professionals must have 16 hours of training in these areas before providing services and 8 hours of training annually. Some folks in Breathitt County are trying to preserve the rich history of one of the oldest buildings on HCTC's Lee's College campus. Jackson Hall was built in 1927 and has adapted to the changing need of students throughout the years. But college officials say it has structural concerns and has been vacant since 2022. Now the college president says they want to work with the community to keep the campus moving forward cost efficiently while preserving its history.
We have explored a number of grant options that might be available. We have looked at various ideas and renderings from architects. We have talked about a number of possible partnerships. And all in all, we are just really trying to collect input and make the best decision that will support our students, our employees, our community, and allow for continued campus growth.
HCTC officials encouraged community members to complete a feedback survey. You can find a link in this story at WYMT.com. Governor Andy Beshear highlighted tax season changes during his Team Kentucky briefing. He says due to federal changes, your return could be impacted. He says Kentuckians who file their taxes between April 1st and the deadline on the 15th may run into postmark delays. Postmarks through the U.S. Post offices may no longer reflect the date you dropped off your mail. The postmark date is used to determine if Kentuckians filed their taxes in time. Otherwise, they could face a penalty. In addition, anyone wanting to get their refund by direct deposit needs to follow another national requirement.
To receive your refund by direct deposit, your name on your tax return or your tax refund application must match the name on your bank account. Otherwise, a paper check will be mailed. So if Andrew is on one of mine, but Andy is on the other, they could not, under this new tool from the for fraud prevention, which is a requirement from the federal government, do a direct deposit. Taxpayers and businesses should review.
Some options to avoid getting penalized includes filing online, requesting a manual postmark when you mail through the post office, mail your taxes in early, or using certified mail. Next week, Apple Red Legal Aid is offering a free assistance clinic. The event will provide estate planning and title clearing. Staff will help folks draft estate plans, including a last will and testament, power of attorney, living will, and funeral planning declaration. Title clearing can help clarify and make a plan to clear home ownership issues. It can even help folks who have experienced disaster and had trouble with FEMA due to title issues.
And that's important for disaster survivors because in order to get FEMA assistance, you have to be able to prove that you legally owned your home. So that's when title clearing becomes very important.
The Hazard Clinic will be March 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Passport by Molina Healthcare. And the Pikeville Clinic will be April 15th from 10 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Pike County Public Library. They say more clinics will happen later, or you can schedule a one-on-one clinic. A man was arrested after police in Martin County say he nearly hit a deputy head-on. It happened last week on Kentucky 645. Police say they were patrolling when they had to drive into a shoulder because Eric Mullet nearly hit a deputy. According to police, Mullet refused to stop after they tried to pull him over, turning at an intersection before crashing into a guardrail. Police later arrested him after he crashed again, this time at the Martin County React office. The viral meme is slithering its way to the silver screen. That and more in a look of today's Eye on Entertainment.
And we're talking strong to severe storm chances as we're heading into your Saturday. I'll tell you what you need to know.